let's just talk about podcasting because I really want to talk about how to buy a home podcast. I've actually shared this with my team. I'm like, you need to listen to this guy. He knows what he's talking about. You're going to be a better realtor if you listen to this podcast. This isn't just for buyers out there. If you're a realtor listening to this, you better be listening to David's podcast because that's what the buyers in this market are hearing. He's the voice of first-time buyers. He's actually the voice of buyers. Matter of fact, if I have a seller, I'm going to send him your podcast because the sellers need to know what the buyers are equipped with. But before we get into all
Yeah.
that, talk a little bit about what are the fundamentals to building a podcast?
Well, it's funny that, I mean, I appreciate that. And I do, for me, once I started building the podcast, I thought initially, oh, okay, I'm going to take everything that I've learned at the time, 13 years in, and just put it on a podcast. And I thought that was enough. But then I thought back to the very first thing I learned when I was 35 years old when I pivoted from show business into real estate. And I got super lucky and I went to Brian Tracy, motivational business, and I'm a motivational speaker. He's a business speaker. And I bought the entire 6 CD set, and hundreds of dollars. The number one thing I remember is he said, if you're in an industry, get up and read 30 minutes every morning. Just
Mm,
having the information at the tip of your tongue, on the top of your brain, it just puts you ahead of the competition. The rest of the skills and all that stuff, yes, you need to learn that, but you have to start with the fundamentals of know your business, know your craft. Have you ever talked to someone that's crazy passionate about a hobby? Well, if they were a business owner, then they'd be the best person to talk to about oil painting or model car design or whatever it was. And then, thank goodness, I was books on tape back in the day. We live in a world where I've gotten probably 2 or 3 different PhDs over the last 6 years through podcasts and through Audible books constantly. Every time I walk the dog, every time I wake up in the morning, every time I, have lunch, I've got a podcast or an audiobook going in my ears to learn and educate myself. The books are the fundamentals, listening to the classics on how to run a business, but the podcast is the current day-to-day information on what's going on in the industry.